1065? It's time now for Front Page Jacksonville, a show that delves into the issues that affect you. We believe in transparency and providing only the facts. And now, here's Octavius Davis.
It is December 1st. Today's date is December 1st, 2024. Can someone please explain to me what happened to the other 330 days of the year, 334 days of the year? This year has bolted by like nobody's business. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Front Page Jacksonville. I am Octavius Davis. I want to just let you know, if you came into 2024 with New Year's resolutions, goals and plans, vision boards, manifestation scripts, whatever you want to call it, you got 30 more days. You have 30 more days to pull it off. Hopefully, when you came into the year, you began working on whatever that goal was that you were walking out of 2023, coming into 2024 with. But here's a better question. Do you even remember what you said you were going to accomplish this year? Now, I don't necessarily set New Year's resolutions. I stopped doing that a few years ago because I got tired of lying to myself. I was like, Octavius, you keep saying what you're going to do, but you hadn't shaken a leg. You ain't done nothing with these resolutions. So, ironically, I stopped setting resolutions, but I have definitely been crushing different goals that I've set out for myself. I just decided to stop talking about it and be about it. Truthfully. You won't see me post a goal that I have for myself on social media. I don't do that. I learned that and I don't know the psychology and psychological explanations behind it, but in essence, when we communicate a particular goal that we want to accomplish, we haven't accomplished it yet. We just want to announce that there's a goal that we want to accomplish. Apparently, just that one act of communicating that publicly reduces our chances from actually reaching the goal. Because apparently there's some sort of psychological thing that goes on where our brain gets the reward from the congratulations and the way to goes and you can do it and all those types of things that people will comment on the post. There's something that happens in the brain that kind of causes you to say, we can chill. We've gotten the kudos already. We don't have to go as hard after this particular thing. So I stopped making public announcements of what I'm going to do, and I more so share the information once I have done it. So hopefully that will help you as we prepare to round out 2024 and get this, step into 2025. I would have thought by now, as a kid, growing up on movies like Back to the Future, RoboCop, I would have thought that by now we would have had hover boards for skateboards like we saw Michael J. Fox. I think that was Back to the Future 2. I would have thought by now we would have had that. Now, I will say, thinking about the Back to the Future 2 movie, there's a scene where I don't recall who was on the phone, but someone is having a phone conversation, but it looks like a landline phone, but there's like a video screen attached where you can actually see the person that you're talking with. And I remember as a kid seeing that. I was like, oh, that's hogwash. We'll never see the day where you can talk on the phone and see the person at the same time. Oh, boy, was I wrong. Who knew FaceTime and Skype, Zoom, Google Chat, and all these other things, Google Meet, rather, all these other things were going to become a thing? And then who knew that landline phones were going to be completely extinct and we walk around with broadcasting systems in our pocket known as a smartphone? that does everything. Who knew? Who knew? But we're about to go into 2025. That is, I'm still wrapping my mind around that. But here's the thing. Take a scarf with you into 2025. It's cold outside. I think it was 37 degrees this morning as I was coming into the station. Not too bad, but yeah, it's a far cry from just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago with the weather that we were seeing. And I was a bit ahead of myself last week. Last week, Jack and I were talking about hurricane season and, this, that, and the other. I thought hurricane season had already concluded a week ago. Yesterday was the official last day of hurricane season. So we should be in the clear between now and I think July when hurricane season resurrects. So we should be good by now. And for me, like if you plan on taking a cruise, to me, the best time to do a cruise is between February and June. And honestly, I would probably say May. I don't like playing with June like that. You never know. One of these tropical storms might, wake up a little early and decide to wreak havoc somewhere. So, we got cold weather. We got a brand new year on the cusp. And I have an update to make because we are rounding out one of 3 holidays for the holiday season. Thanksgiving was just the other day. I hope that it was a joyous time for you and your family. Hopefully, no blows were exchanged as the turkey and dressing was being passed across the table at your family dinner. But last week on this show, I sat behind this microphone and I made a proclamation that I believed that I could make candy yams better than my brother and my mother. Now, if you don't follow me on social media, you don't know the outcome of that proclamation. Those of you who do follow me on social media, you already know. So if you would like to follow me on social media, The $1 Million Voice. The $1 Million Voice, that's DA $1 Million Voice is how you can find me on social media. That's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. On Facebook, it's just simply Octavius Davis. Octavius, Octavius Davis. That's how you can find me on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. And I'm remiss because I forgot about YouTube. You can also find me on YouTube at The $1 Million Voice. And I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's where you can also see the studio version of Front Page Jacksonville, along with some other interesting things that I have the honor of being able to do throughout the week. So here's the update for you. I came, I saw, I conquered. Okay? Now, Mom didn't come out and say that my candy yams were better than hers, but I'll take what I could get. She said I did pretty good. And then I asked for clarity. I said, well, pretty good or better than? And she emphatically replied, pretty good. So I'll take it, Ma. I'll take pretty good. I'll take pretty good. And there was pretty much a unanimous decision by my siblings that henceforth I have the duties of bringing the candy yams to Thanksgiving dinner. So I'll take it. A win is a win. A win is a win. I will humbly take that responsibility so that the candy yam tradition in the Davis Shire may continue to move forward. Because I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty picky eater. I do not eat everyone's candy yams. If you put marshmallows and pecans, or pecans, however you pronounce it, I pecant. I'm not going to eat it. I am not going to eat it. I remember when I used to live in Detroit, my great-grandmother at that time, this is the great-grandmother on my mom's side, but it was like my granddad's stepmother. So hopefully you can follow that genealogy. Either case, I don't recall if it was just a regular Sunday dinner or if it was a Thanksgiving. I don't remember. I was like 9 or 10 years old. But here's what I do remember. I remember being so excited because I have loved candy yams since I was a child. Sweet potato pie, absolutely love it. I am a junk food junkie. I'm a sweets freak. I'll admit that. So here it is. They tell us it's time to wash up, get ready for dinner. Yes, I'm excited because I had already asked what was on the menu, and I was told candy yams is on the menu. So we go to the table. I'm excited, and I see this dish on the table, and I'm looking at it. Like, what is this? Nobody said anything about marshmallows. And so we get there, and they're making our plates, and then I'm asked by my great-grandmother, baby, do you want some candy yams? Yes, ma'am, I do, but I don't see them. She proceeds to take a spoon and scoop it into the marshmallow. And much to my surprise, underneath the marshmallow was the candy yams. And what I forgot to mention was on top of the marshmallow was pecans. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the way it smelled. That stayed on my plate for the rest of the night. I didn't eat that. As much as I love candy yams, I didn't eat that. Now, someone could easily say, oh, but you probably would have loved it. You should have tasted it. No. I am a picky eater. If I don't like the way that it looks, if I don't like the way that it smells, I am not going to eat it. I am not adventurous when it comes to my food. I am a creature of habit. Different restaurants or whatever that my wife and I go to, I'm going to get the same thing every time. Why? Because I know what to expect. I don't get adventurous when it's time to eat. I'm the type of person who gets hangry. If you don't know what hangry is, that's hungry and angry mixed together. I am not a very pleasant person once I get to that stage. Now, my wife has a name for that person. My wife calls him Reggie. I cease being Octavius, and I become Reggie in those moments. And if your name is Reggie and you're watching the show, I apologize. We don't mean to offend. I don't know why she chose Reggie, but for some reason, Raging Reggie is who she's coined this person as being. So I don't like to get adventurous when it's time to eat. No, I want to know what it is I'm eating, what it's going to taste like, so that my appetite, my mental state, taste buds, and stomach can all be in agreement. Yeah. So hopefully you and your family had a great Thanksgiving because it was a great Thanksgiving on my end. Spent time with my mom, my siblings, kids, family. It was beautiful. No fighting, no arguing. We came together, we laughed, we ate. We all went back home and went to sleep. I think I hibernated for the rest of the night. And I didn't eat a whole lot purposefully. I didn't eat a whole lot, but it felt good to just spend time with family. So hopefully you and your loved ones were able to do the same. On last week's show, we also had a licensed family and marriage therapist, Kalia Bryant, on the show, sharing information on how to overcome feelings of grief. And so if you had an opportunity to hear last week's show, I encourage you to implement those tips that she shared. If you missed last week's show, once again, you can go to the YouTube channel at The $1 Million Voice, subscribe to the channel, and you can also watch and listen to last week's show. She shared some really, really great tips on how to overcome grief. So today we're going to dive into a few different things, but since we're right here talking about the holidays, we may as well stay right here. Black Friday. We all know that Black Friday is probably one of the best/worst days of the year to be out shopping. Could be the best day of the year for you if you're looking for blockbuster deals. Could be the worst day of the year for you if you get caught up in that traffic. And apparently, out by the St. John's Town Center, people got caught up in that Black Friday shopping traffic. Drivers were at a standstill for 3.5 hours at the St. John's Town Center. I'm talking gridlock for 3.5 hours. No car accidents, no construction. JSO was called. Officers, thankfully, were able to get out and direct the traffic. Thank you, JSO, for bringing some uniformity back to the flow of traffic over at the St. John's Town Center. But JSO confirmed there weren't any incidents or accidents out in that area. But you know how it is. You drive in Jacksonville. You know how it is. I won't say that people in Jacksonville can't drive, but I will say I think some people in Jacksonville are allergic to driving properly, because I scratch my head at some of the things that I see on the road. But 3.5 hours stuck in traffic, I would have gone stir crazy sitting in a car for 3.5 hours, not going anywhere. I don't like road trips. 6 hours is my max being behind the wheel of a car driving somewhere, like out of town, Atlanta, Miami. That's like my max. If you start talking about the Carolinas, Virginias, hey, bring a tranquilizer. You're going to need to bring something to put me to sleep, because Raging Reggie is going to show up at some point. I start going stir crazy. You know, I need to get out and stretch. I'm 6 feet tall. Sitting in a car for longer than 6 hours, no, I need to get out. I need to walk around. I need to inhale air that's not being blown through an AC unit. I need to know that this trip is soon about to end. So being stuck in gridlock traffic for 3.5 hours at the St. John's Town Center, I probably would have got out and walked. Like, you know, just I'm going to walk home. Once you get out of, talking to my wife, once you get out of this traffic, just pick me up as I'm walking across the Fuller Warren Bridge or something. But I got to get moving. Got to get moving. But I'm also surprised that traffic was as bad, considering how much online shopping takes place. So I don't know what they had going on out there at the St. John's Town Center, but apparently people wanted a part of that action. 3.5 hours. Now, my producer here in the studio, Jack, was sharing with me that he and his family were spending time down in St. Augustine. And Jack, you all got caught up in some traffic as well. Was it the Festival of Lights, I believe it was?
So, yeah, if y'all are familiar with St. Augustine, every year they set up the Nights of Lights downtown, and that gets traffic from everywhere. Yeah, I was telling you, Octavius, I saw a Utah license plate.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, it's time for traffic.
Yeah.
It's everybody's here. Everybody.
Sheesh. And how long was that wait for you in that traffic?
I was just trying to get from Volano. If you're familiar with Caps on the Water, I was on the way home from my other job, and I live by Anastasia, just trying to get over the Bridge Alliance.
Yep.
Took me an hour, 30 minutes on that A1A road.
And any other day, how long is that drive for you any other day?
5 minutes.
Oh,
5
that's
minutes.
crazy.
Yeah.
What?
Easy, or at least through downtown. The whole ride is probably about 30 minutes, but
Okay.
that whole ride probably took about 2 hours.
Man.
Considering the facts, yeah. Rough.
Insane.
Rough, I'd say.
Well, I tip my hat off to you. And you didn't become undone just getting through the traffic. I mean, you were patient enough to get through it without.
You know, we got music. We got music, Octavius. I had some time, listened to a few albums, and it was a few albums. It wasn't just one. I had the time.
Man.
It was rough.
All right, well, I'm glad you made it to your destination safely, of course.
You know, hey, if there's a will, there's a way.
Indeed. So if you and your family were out in this Black Friday traffic, you deserve some type of badge, some type of medal, right? To be able to get through the holiday traffic and to be able to get through it without displaying road rage. I think that's a huge feat. That's a huge feat. Now, I'm not a road rager. I become undone within the confines of my own vehicle and going stir crazy within my own mind. But no, I feel it, I don't spill it, right? I don't spill it onto other people. So I'm definitely not a road rager. But at the same time, I purposefully avoid certain parts of town during different times of the year for that very reason. There was no way I was going to go anywhere near St. John's Town Center or Blanding Boulevard. We had to go out. I think we did go out on Friday afternoon, my wife and I, but we avoided Blanding Boulevard. No. Blanding Boulevard is a nightmare during Black Friday shopping. So this is Front Page Jacksonville. You will have an opportunity to call in and share your thoughts. Express your comments or concerns at 833-758-1065 with any of the topics that we discussed today. We have more coming up, such as a fire that took place at a townhome over in Fort Caroline. I'm going to also talk to you about 2 different shelters that are extending their overnight hours through Tuesday in an efforts of helping those citizens who need additional shelter during these cold nights here in Duval. So again, 833-758-1065 is the number to call to get on Front Page Jacksonville. I'm Octavius Davis. We'll see you on the other side.
Now back to the show that informs you and discusses the issues. Front Page Jacksonville on Hot 106.5.
Early yesterday morning, 2 people were displaced from their home following a fire. The fire occurred at a townhome in the 11600 block of Duneway Drive. If you're not familiar with the area, this is over in the Monument Road, McCormick area, right around the corner from the Police Athletic League. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. The fire was caused by the home's heater, according to the Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department. As you know, over the weekend, temperatures dipped down into the 30s. JFRD says residents should take care to maintain their home's heating system, checking it before it's used for the first time this season. And that's facts. So we turned on our heater for the first time yesterday. It was yesterday afternoon. No, I take that back. My apologies. Yesterday morning. We turned it on yesterday morning once everyone was getting up and moving about. And it was like 60 degrees in our house. And, usually we like it 68, 69, especially, as we're sleeping overnight. But it was a tad bit too cold. So we turned on the AC unit. And after a minute or two of being on, you could smell. I actually went out and checked the unit to make sure there wasn't a fire because it smelled kind of smoky. It was our first time turning on our heater this year. So I really like that tip that JFRD is recommending to turn on your heaters, even if you don't leave it on for a long time, but at least, crank that bad boy up so that you don't turn it on in the middle of the night and it potentially cause a fire. Another thing to be mindful of during this time of year, space heaters. Space heaters are another cause for concern when it comes to home fires, being in the office, things of that nature. People like space heaters. So here are a few tips that FireRescue1.com is offering to prevent space heater fires. Number 1, purchase a heater with the seal of a qualified testing laboratory. 2, keep the heater at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn, including people. 3, choose a heater with a thermostat and overheat protection. 4, place the heater on a solid, flat surface. 5th tip, make sure your heater has an auto shutoff to turn the heater off if it tips over. That is a great option if you can find a space heater with that feature. 6, keep space heaters out of the way of foot traffic. 7, never block an exit. Never put a space heater around an exit is what it's saying. 8, keep children away from the space heater. 9, plug the heater directly into the wall outlet. 10 is an extension of 9, and extension, no pun intended, but never use an extension cord when you are plugging in a space heater. This is why tip 9 says plug the heater directly into the wall outlet. And 11, space heaters should be turned off and unplugged when you leave the room or go to bed. So FireRescue1.com is recommending to not go to bed with a space heater on. Now, we're just now seeing cooler temperatures for the first time here in Northeast Florida. But I don't know about you, but if you've seen what the weather looks like for the next couple of days, it's going to be cold for the next couple of days up this way. So please be certain that you and your family do your diligence to ensure that you can keep yourselves warm, but also keep yourselves safe if you're using a space heater or your home's installed heating unit to ensure that you don't experience what these two in the Fort Caroline area experienced just yesterday with a fire. Now, again, thankfully, neither of them were hurt, but of course, it's never a convenient thing whenever you experience a fire to any degree. Staying right here in the same tenor of the weather changes, the Schulzbacher Center is opening cold night shelters over the weekend. So women and families can stay at the Schulzbacher's Village at 5455 Springfield Boulevard. Men can stay at the Schulzbacher downtown campus at 611 East Adams Street. Temporary sleeping areas in the dining rooms and library will also be open. And this is going to take place. It started up on this past Friday, and it's going through Tuesday morning there at the Schulzbacher Center. And then there is a second opportunity for Jacksonvillians who need some additional help for shelter over the next few days. Due to the forecast low temperatures this weekend, the City Rescue Mission will also increase its overnight capacity and extend its hours to those in need of shelter. So kudos to both the City Rescue Mission and the Schulzbacher Center with making sure that we can make sure that our residents are able to be housed over the next couple of days with the cooler weather here in Jacksonville. Question for you. What would you do with $500 million? The mega millions, or should we call it mega billions, that's where it is right now. It's over $500 million. I don't know if you do the lotto thing. I've done it a time or two. But I tell you what, I wouldn't tell anybody if I won. But there will be clues. There would definitely be signs that Octavius Davis has won $500 million. One of those signs would be no one would hear from me. I would abandon social media. I'm turning in notices to all my jobs, my day job, my after school program. As much as I enjoy Front Page Jacksonville, it is a wrap. I would not come back. So I'm telling you, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be clues. I wouldn't start a business. I would simply just reserve myself to enjoying the rest of my days on this earth with my family. Whatever that looks like, whether it's traveling, whether it's just sitting home doing whatever we're going to do there at home, that's what I would do. Because, I mean, when you think about it, most people, we only work because we have to. We have to provide a roof over our head and our loved one's head. We have to make sure we can eat, right? So we have to pay bills from that standpoint. But what if we could live life where we didn't have to? What would you do with your life if you didn't have to? The bills and the car note and the credit card and the child support and the this and the that. What would you do? I know what I would do. I'm going to live. I am going to live life. Whatever that may looks like, I'm going to enjoy doing it. No one hit the big prize on Friday night, growing the Mega Millions jackpot to $541 million. Friday's winning numbers were 3, 29, 34, 37, 38, and the Mega Ball was 17. The next drawing will be Tuesday at 11 p.m. That's this Tuesday at 11 p.m. The winning Mega Million numbers and results from all of your favorite Florida lottery games will also be shared during that time. The Mega Million odds are 1 in 302.6 million. Winners can choose an annuity with annual payments over 29 years, but most always take the cash option. And they're like, no. The Those 29 years aren't promised to me. I want all my money now. I'm right there with him. Now, the only thing about that, I'm pretty sure there's a pretty significant tax implication when you take that much money on the front end. But I don't care. Scrooge McDuck me. You understand what I'm saying? No. I don't want those 29 years. For all I know, the pot of money that my money is in over the course of those 29 years, it might get absorbed some kind of way. We might get a governor in office that may not do right with the funds, and now I don't have any money for the rest of my 27 years. No. Give me all my money up front. And I'm going to live out my Scrooge McDuck dreams. I don't know what it's like to go swimming in a pool of money, but I could find out. I'm pretty sure I could reenact that with over, what is this jackpot? Over $541 million. I could get real creative. Even if it's CGI, simulated, I don't care. I would just want to see me swimming, diving in and out of the money like I used to see on my favorite childhood cartoon, DuckTales. Y'all don't know nothing about DuckTales. Jack, you win $541 million. Let's just say on a scratch off, you just stopped by the store, man, to pick something up real quick, and you just randomly, you know what, on a whim, let me just play these numbers real quick, whatever the case may be. And lo and behold, your number hits $541 million. Jack, what are you doing?
Well, I could joke around, but I'm gonna be pretty realistic.
Okay, you're gonna keep it 100. All right.
Pretty realistic. First, I'd pay off college. That'd be the first thing I did. Then I'd pay my sister's college. Then I try to pay whatever bills my parents have. And then it's time. And then once all that's done, once all that's done, I'm like, all right, I did my good. Now I can ride out this good and just splurge and splurge. But one thing I think about a lot is I want to own some property in St. Augustine and lease it out to Flagler kids.
Makes sense.
Because that market will always be there. There'll always be people wanting to live, not in a dorm.
Yep.
So but that's something I want to do anyways. But, the Powerball, that just make it happen instantly,
Yeah, absolutely.
Super easily. And the house would be a lot better than what might happen in real life,
Well, I know last week, I forget what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about rent, right? Because I mentioned that my first apartment
my jet
was
ski.
Your jet ski, you got to get the jet ski, man.
My jet ski, my boat, of course.
So you're going with jet ski and a boat?
Well, yeah, the Powerball. It's the Powerball.
Splurge a little bit,
boat, 2 jet skis, why not? In case, want to go cruising around the town,
You've already paid off your college, your sister's college, and your parent bills. You owe it to yourself, right?
Let's get all them jet skis, too. Why not? It's the Powerball. Come on.
So now you got a family of jet skis, coming through in the water. But that's, now here's the question. Would you still work a job?
I feel like I would figure something out like a job. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't work for somebody, but I feel like if I had that much money, I'd be able to just figure out anything in a way.
Go. Well, when you speak about the rental properties, right? So that would be a revenue stream for you.
Yeah, exactly. Just try to, make more money with the money I have, and that would be my job.
Yeah, okay.
For the rest of my life. Make more money with what'd you say? $500 million?
$500 million.
I can't even fathom that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Even if they took half of that for taxes, right? That still leaves you $270 some odd $million, right? And we hear stories of people who, I don't want to say they mishandled their money. I can only assume, but after I think 3 to 5 years, most lottery winners go broke, I think is what that statistic says.
I could go 3 to 5 Ferraris and still be good with this lottery. I don't know how these people did it,
Hey, man, stranger things have happened. But that's rather responsible of you, Jack. He says he's going to pay his college, sister's college, parents' bills. Once all the bills are knocked out, I'm with you. I'm knocking out all the bills.
Yeah.
After that, I'm living. And maybe not too luxurious, right? Well within my means. But you figure even if you take the principle of that money and put it in an investment tool that will allow you to live off the interest, even that would be a really good place to be in, right? What would you do if you won $500 million? 833-758-1065 is the number to call. What would you do with $500 million? What would you buy? Where would you go? What would life look like for you at that point? With $500 million. We have a caller on the line. Welcome to Front Page Jacksonville. What would you do, caller, if you won $500 million?
Good morning, Octavius. How you doing?
Hey, good brother. I am excellent. Thank you. How about yourself?
I'm fabulous.
So $500 million, Ryan, what you doing with it?
It would be some signs. There would be some signs.
What's one of the signs, Ryan?
My van would grow exponentially into a Greyhound bus. I might not have my name on it, but there'll be a picture on the front.
Would the picture be of you?
Probably, or some kind of icon that everybody knows. Maybe a hat or a drum. And I grew up with no money.
Okay.
So I'm doing that TV show, The Millionaire, or the whatever that was.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous?
No, the Philanthropist.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yep, I'm with you. Yep.
Yeah, the bus is right in town. And then some people would get benefits. So that wouldn't be a front page Jacksonville, but it might be a front page America.
There you go.
While you traveling across the country. Something everywhere.
I like those signs, Ryan. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. My alma mater would all of a sudden have whatever they needed. My church would be gutted and refurbished and rebuilt to whatever it needed to be. Nobody in my family would be in their house for at least 6 months while we redesign it to their specs.
Wow, I like it.
And then programs would just all of a sudden have somebody donated $1 million here, somebody donated $50,000.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put my name on it because I don't need nobody all of a sudden.
Showing up to your house.
And they need a private toothbrush or something.
Right.
We're not funded stuff like that.
Exactly.
I might have one. I might have somebody come brush my teeth and things. Change their name to Deeds.
So you're going to come into America style.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Seriously, some of these things, some of these problems that I could help alleviate. That's my mindset.
Yeah.
Is what could benefit, because I always think when it benefits us, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Because I do that now with no money.
There you go.
But drum lessons would be free, for people that really want to play. I just got that philanthropic heart.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about us. Growing up, focusing on what we need and what we should have. And I would actually do the things that people profess they do.
Yeah. And what I like about those signs that you mentioned, Ryan, you said that you would do it anonymously so that people wouldn't know that it was you. But also, because you wouldn't need the kudos. You know what I mean? You're doing it out of the kindness of your heart at that point. I love those signs, man. Thanks so much for sharing them with us today.
Oh, well, I'm a regular. I got to hear y'all.
Indeed, man. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, Ryan. Keep on listening, man.
I shall.
All right, brother.
Have a great day.
You too.
And somebody please buy me a ticket because I ain't spending no money.
A ticket? A lottery ticket?
Yes, please. Drop it by the house, put it in the mailbox, whatever you want to do.
Hey, just go ahead and drop your cash app. Let them cash app you some lottery money, Ryan.
That'll work too.
All right, brother.
If enough people cash app, I won't need the lottery.
Yeah, you're right about that. All right, brother. Have a safe and happy holiday.
You too, sir.
Appreciate you. Hey, more is on the way. You're listening to Front Page Jacksonville. I'm Octavius Davis.
Hot 106.5, it's time now for Front Page Jacksonville, a show that delves into the issues that affect you. We believe in transparency and providing only the facts. And now, here's Octavius Davis.
This past spring, there was a rap beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Each artist were dropping songs back and forth, diss tracks, right? And then all of a sudden, Kendrick Lamar drops a track that essentially ended the rap beef, at least in terms of records being dropped, with his song, Not Like Us. Everywhere you turned, my headsets included, was bumping Not Like Us. Streaming services, clubs, social media. Now that was a viral song. I don't think I've seen or heard anything go viral like that in quite a while, to where it spills beyond social media and it's in day-to-day living. Sports broadcasts, sports arenas. Football season is wrapping up. Bands playing They Not Like Us as a response to the opposing band that their teams are playing. And so about a week ago, Kendrick drops another album, GNX or Gen X. Pretty good album. I haven't listened to the entire thing at this point, but I've listened to a couple of tracks. Then a couple of days ago, Drake files a lawsuit. He's taking legal action over the song They Not Like Us because of the claims in the lyrics of him being a sex offender. And then, in this lawsuit, it's not directed at Kendrick Lamar, like directly. It's more so geared towards the record label itself. He's essentially saying, hey, Universal, you could have shut this down. You could have prevented this slanderous activity from taking place with this song. You could have chosen to not allow this song to be released. And there are a few other things that, this suit is claiming. One of the claims is that Universal paid streaming services like Spotify to keep the song in rotation, that they paid different radio stations to play this song, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when I read all of this, the only thing that comes to my mind is, hey, Drake, you just proved the song right, my boy. This is why you are not like us. This, my boy, is why with those litany of songs that Kendrick Lamar dropped when y'all were going track for track, diss for diss, and he was referring to you as a shoebie, someone who culturally appropriates someone else's music or heritage and it not genuinely be their own. This is why you're doing not like us activities, my guy. Can you imagine? I began going back thinking to different rap beefs throughout the years. I essentially grew up next to hip hop, right? So I'm thinking about Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, The Bridge Is Over, right? I'm thinking about Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J. They had a slight beef back in the day. I'm thinking about Ice Cube when he dropped No Vaseline. And I believe that was directed towards Dr. Dre. I'm thinking about Pac and Biggie. Nas and Jay-Z. I'm thinking about all these different rap beefs that have happened over the past 40 years. Granted, I realize that hip-hop is 50 years old, but I'm just thinking specifically over the past 40 years, all these different rap beefs that have happened. Not ever in the history of never has any of those artists said, you know what, I'm gonna sue. Why? Because we don't do that kind of stuff. But you know who does do that kind of stuff? Those who are not like us. Namely, Aubrey. This is very Aubrey of you, Drake. If there wasn't a bigger sign that an artist's career is pretty much on the wrap up, this is it. This is, I don't know, man. You might have to come up with a new class of Degrassi or something. You know, maybe just focus on acting at this point. If you're able to transition back into acting, I don't know. Because at this day and age, hip hop and Hollywood are so intertwined when you speak about acting and movie roles and opportunities and things of that nature. It's not looking good for you, my guy. Not looking good for you at all. You sue? That's the equivalent of, you went to Tattletale? You going to Tattletale? Come on, man. You snitching? Because of what he said about you in the song? But didn't you say some stuff about him in your song too? You referred to him as being a woman beater. You said that he physically abuses his wife. You claimed that his children aren't his kids. I mean, come on, bruh. Mr. Dish It Out, but can't take it? I don't know, man. This is not very hip-hop-ish. This is very pop-ish. This is not hip-hop at all. You're listening to Front Page Jacksonville, WHJX, Ponte Vedra Beach, Hot 106.5 FM. I am Octavius Davis. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning on Front Page Jacksonville. If you'd like to hop on to share your thoughts on any of the topics that we've discussed so far, 833-758-1065 is the number to call. That's 833-758-1065. We just finished discussing the disgusting lawsuit that Drake recently brought up against Universal Music because of Kendrick Lamar's track, They Not Like Us. Drake doesn't like it. He doesn't want them playing that song anymore. Kendrick referred to him as a sex offender, and doggone it, I want this song taken out of rotation. I also posed the question, what would you do if you won $500 million? Now, a longtime friend and caller, Ryan, he called in. He said, hey, look, I won't tell anybody, but there will be clues. There would be signs. Jack and I, we also discussed that here in the studio. And one of those signs is, we've all pretty much agreed we would do some philanthropic efforts, right? Me, I would phase off into the background. I would live off the grid, essentially. I would leave social media, all of that stuff. Any jobs, radio show, Front Page Jacksonville, I enjoy doing it. Elroy, Wanda P, love the opportunity. CMG Radio, thank you for allowing me to sit behind the mic. But I can tell you right now, if I won $500 million, it's see you when I see you. I'm out. I'm going to live life and do whatever that may look like. What would you do if you won $500 million? We also spoke about the extended overnight shelters with both the Sulzbacher and City Rescue Mission. With the city's temperatures dipping below the 30s, those facilities have created more opportunities so that those individuals who are in need of shelter during overnights will have a place to lay their head in a comfy and cozy environment. That's going to be good through Tuesday. We also discussed a townhome fire that took place yesterday morning in the Fort Caroline area. Unfortunately, when they turned on their heater, it ultimately led to there being a fire in their unit. And so JFRD, the Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department, just shared some tips on ensuring that you and your family are safe during the holiday season, especially now that temperatures are getting cooler. Please make sure that the first time you turn on your heating system is not at nighttime as you are preparing to go to bed. Turn it on earlier in the day. Make sure everything is working the way that it's supposed to. We turned on ours for the first time yesterday morning, and it smelled a little smoky. I went and checked everything. Thankfully, there was no fire. And soon after that smell dissipated. But, it's gone unused for almost a year at this point. So JFRD is just recommending fire that bad boy up, let it run for a little bit to make sure everything is copacetic. And then, of course, we just came out of the first of 3 holidays for this holiday season, that being Thanksgiving this past Thursday. But Black Friday caused a 3.5-hour long traffic gridlock out at the St. John's Town Center. Now, I don't do a whole lot of driving in highly populated areas during Black Friday because I like to avoid that type of traffic. But if you and your family are out there on the roads this weekend and as we speedball into the holiday season, please drive safely. But also just be mindful of the different traffic opportunities. And if you missed the beginning of the show, if you're just tuning in and you missed the beginning of the show, I did give an update because last week I sat right here and I shared boldly, confidently that I believed I could make candy yams better than my mother and my brother. Now, I noticed I didn't give a whole lot of insight as to why I called my brother out. So here's why I called my brother out. For those of you who go to different eateries around Jacksonville, my brother used to be part owner of Magnola's Kitchen. And they were on the northwest side of Jacksonville is where they were located, and they operated outside of the post. And my brother can throw down, okay? He came up with this creation of soul food egg rolls a couple of years ago. And it's literally as it states. It's an egg roll. On the inside is chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens. Everything is seasoned to perfection. And then he went a step further and created a dipping sauce for this soul food egg roll. And the dipping sauce is like candy yam juice. The whole concept is just absolutely sublime. When you order a soul food egg roll, there's 2 of them that comes in the order. And they fill me up. 2 of those things alone will absolutely fill me up. And despite that, I called my brother out on the carpet. My big brother, he's 2 years older than me. And I still boldly declare I can make candy yams better than him. So Thanksgiving dinner, it was time to put up or shut up. I got up that morning, made my dish, met the family over to our sister Nisha's house. Nisha, she is the 3rd oldest. My brother Stevan is first, I'm second. Nisha is 3rd, and then our youngest sister, Tasha. Kanisha said, I'm going to be the judge. All right, sis, let's go. So my mom, she tried the yams. She said, hey, they're pretty good. You did a really good job. But I don't like there being any misunderstanding. I said, well, Ma, I need some understanding. Is it pretty good or is it better than? Because to me, pretty good means, all right, kid. All right, you gave it a good shot, but you got a ways to go. Better than is, okay, all right, you got me. You've surpassed me. Mama wouldn't give me that compliment. Mama just said they was pretty good. I asked about, okay, but are they better than? She's like, they are pretty good. All right, well, I'm not going to push. I'll take what I can get. My youngest sister, Tasha, she is part owner of Straight Fire Wings. Absolutely amazing food. Anything you can think of, my sister is killing it. I mean, absolutely killing it. Her husband, Gerard, makes this sauce. It's called Rod sauce that she puts on her wings. And if I'm making you hungry this morning, it's intentional. It's intentional. I'm making you hungry, Jack. Yeah. I got to make sure I paint the picture for you of just how well my siblings and my mom can throw down in the kitchen. But Rod, he makes this sauce, and I promise you, you can put that sauce on anything. They choose to put this sauce on the chicken wings that they make, and it's phenomenal. You can put this sauce on some fried fish, your day will be made. You can lather this bad boy up on some pancakes. I promise you, the sauce will not have been wasted because it is just that good. So my younger sister, Tasha, she tried the candy yam. She said, whoa, okay, I love it. Absolutely love it. Yes, thank you. And then the judge, Kanisha, her opportunity to see if I've been able to surpass my cooks in the family, my mom, my sister, my brother, and even my mom's brother, my Uncle Clyde, who now lives back in Detroit. He can throw down in the kitchen. Now, Kanisha didn't come out of her mouth and say, hey, bro, these candy yams are better than mom. She didn't come out her mouth and say that. Okay? And she wouldn't. And I don't blame her because mom was right there. You can't say that in front of mom. But what she did do, her second plate of Thanksgiving helpings, her plate was filled to the brim with candy yams. I think that's self-explanatory. Case closed. And then in unison, my siblings said, all right, bro, moving forward, you are responsible for the candy yams. I'll take it. Hear, hear. Victory. But I humbly gloat because, as I said last week, I'll say again, my mom taught me how to make those candy yams. That is my great-grandmother, Corrine Smith. That is her recipe that she taught my mom, and my mom has now taught me. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I mentioned all those kitchen accolades with my mom and my brother and sister. I can't throw down like them. All those other dishes, I can't do that like them. That's their thing. I just so happen to look up with the candy yams. So I got the candy yams moving forward. Everything else, no. You don't want to rely on me for that. 833-758-1065. 833-758-1065 if you'd like to join the conversation here on Front Page Jacksonville. As you know, I've shared on previous shows, I am an alum of a HBCU, Historically Black College or University, from right here in our very own Jacksonville. Edward Waters University is where I attended. And I always like to keep an eye on what's happening with other HBCUs around the country. So when I came across this story about St. Augustine's University up in North Carolina, I wanted to be certain to share it with you as well. If you have not heard, St. Augustine's is in the process of trying to clean up things financially. So they have a meeting with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission, SACS, right, this December, which is this month, now that today is December 1st. And so in an effort to make sure that the school can continue to operate and maintain properly from a financial standpoint, the HBCU will eliminate several positions this month, including part-time and full-time non-faculty roles and some vacant positions as well. So here's how that breaks down. As part of the comprehensive strategy to ensure compliance with SACS and secure its accreditation, SAU, St. Augustine's University, has reduced its expenses by approximately $17 million in fiscal year 2024 compared to fiscal year 2023. Significant reductions totaling 50% of the university's employees included difficult decisions, including eliminating 67 staff positions. That's a 41% reduction. 37 full-time faculty positions. That's a 67% reduction. 32 adjunct faculty positions. That's a 57% reduction. Again, these percentages are in comparison to 2023. And discontinuing several under-enrolled programs. Furthermore, the university is actively settling outstanding balances with vendors while adjusting various contracts, demonstrating a steadfast commitment to restoring financial integrity and ensuring a sustainable future for SAU. I truly hope that St. Augustine's University is able to get everything back on the right track. That's a university that has been integral to HBCUs as a whole. So I would love to see them be able to get their accreditation taken care of and continue making an impact in the lives of students there in Raleigh, North Carolina, because it's challenging out here. It's challenging out here. We're kind of sharing, in the studio different things that we would do if we were to have won $500 million. Well, one of the things I would do, I would definitely give back to my alma mater. HBCUs are in need of additional funding. There's no other way to put it. HBCUs need additional funding. And so the story that I just shared in regards to SAU, it's no different. That's a result of a school who has more needs than they have financial resources at their disposal to be able to cover. So the fact that they're about to have to make these different cuts to their staff, my hope is that those individuals, those staff members who are impacted by those cuts will have an opportunity to continue to take care of their families and go on, whether it's in academia or a different type of profession, so that they and their families' needs can be met. Staying in the same vein of HBCUs, did you know that BET has an HBCU Honors Award show? It actually is airing on next Saturday, I believe, December 7th. It's hosted by Kim Whitley. This is the second annual HBCU Honors. Tonight. It's happening tonight on BET, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some of the performances: MC Light, Fantasia, Hezekiah Walker, Erica Campbell of Mary Mary, and countless other artists will be performing as well. So the purpose of the HBCU Honors is to highlight many of the excellent and groundbreaking individuals who have been impacted by historically black colleges or universities here in the country. So I think that's a really good thing. Some of the honorees for 2024, Dr. Lonnie Johnson, Jewel Burks Solomon, and Will Packer. So Dr. Johnson holds a BS in mechanical engineering and an MS in nuclear engineering from Tuskegee University. He is a former Air Force officer and is a 2022 inductee of the National Inventors Hall of Fame with over 140 patents. Jewel Burks Solomon is a Howard University graduate, tech entrepreneur, and venture capitalist working as the first head of Google for startups in the U.S. She is managing partner of the investment firm Collab Capital, focusing on black entrepreneurship. And Will Powerhouse Packer is a graduate of Florida A&M University, magna cum laude. He founded Will Packer Productions and Will Packer Media. Packer has produced or executive produced a wide range of movies that have grossed over $1 billion worldwide at the box office, including 10 films that have opened at number 1. So that is the BET HBCU Honors, the second annual airing of this award show, which will be taking place tonight at 8 p.m. So I'll be tuned in. 833-758-1065 is the number to call. You're listening to Front Page Jacksonville. We'll be back in a moment.
Front Page Jacksonville resumes on Hot 106.5.
Last week, I talked about a story here in Jacksonville referring to affordable housing. And it's because a firm did a study. That firm is Florida Policy Institute. It's a nonprofit organization. They did a study. And what that study pretty much concluded was that what should be deemed affordable housing is unaffordable for individuals in the workforce, such as educators and firefighters. And here's what one of the opening paragraph in this article from last week said. First Coast News spoke with the analyst who did the study. The Florida legislature has allocated millions for affordable housing. The Florida legislature has allocated millions for affordable housing. Well, that's an oxymoron. To say that the Florida legislature has allocated millions of dollars for affordable housing. However, affordable housing is unaffordable for the working class. We talked last week, the average rate of rent in Jacksonville is $1,300 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. I don't know the last time you had a chance to have a conversation with an educator and they feel comfortable enough to show you their pay stub. Educators cannot afford $1,300 a month for rent. But this is supposed to be affordable housing? And the Florida legislature allocated millions for affordable housing? Well, if you've been following this show for any length of time, my motto is questions are the answers to our problems. So without question, affordable housing is an issue here in Jacksonville, around the country, but we live in Jacksonville. I care about Duval. Affordable housing is an issue. And that issue becomes compounded when the Florida legislature has allocated millions of dollars for affordable housing. My question is, who were those funds allocated to? I'll ask that question again. Who were those funds allocated to? Because if the funds were allocated towards programs that would make the cost of living more affordable for the working class would not be priced out of affordable housing. It feels like it's a shell game. It's a shell game and it's word soup until you start connecting the dots. Now, this is a completely separate article that I'm about to share with you, but it still connects to the article regarding affordable housing that we covered last week. Here's the title: Rising Corporate Ownership of Jacksonville Apartments is Contributing to Higher Costs. Duh! 72% of local apartment complexes are owned by corporate investment firms. Now, I have not gone to Capitol Hill. I have not gone to Tallahassee to meet with the Florida legislature. I haven't sat in during general session when these bills and laws and decisions are being made and voted on. I haven't been there. But I can read. And my ability to critically think is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. So when I see in last week's article that the Florida legislature has allocated millions of dollars towards affordable housing. But then I also see in that same article that affordable housing is unaffordable for the working class in Jacksonville. And then today, I see an article on News4Jax, which this article was published on November 18th, that says rising corporate ownership of Jacksonville's apartments is contributing to higher costs. 72% of local apartment complexes are owned by corporate investment firms. Is it possible that those millions of dollars that were allocated towards affordable housing by the Florida legislature made its way to some of these corporate investment firms? Is it possible? I'm just asking the question. Again, I didn't sit in on any of these meetings. But the math ain't mathing. If you and I are finding ourselves up against insurmountable odds of affordability, despite working 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week, whatever your skin in the game is to your employer, but then finding it exceptionally difficult to meet your basic needs, to meet the basic needs of your family because of these escalating prices, there is a problem. So let me continue sharing more with you on this particular article that says rising. Move out the way now. There's an ad that just want to jump right here in front of my headline. Corporate ownership of multifamily apartment complexes in Jacksonville has surged, raising questions about affordability and community stability, according to a report from the Jax Rental Housing Project. The report reveals that 72% of local apartment complexes are owned by corporate investment firms, marking a significant shift in ownership patterns. This trend, researchers say, is driving up rent and leaving tenants with fewer options. I'm going to jump right on down to the good part. And I'm going to tell you exactly who these corporate investment firms are. Before I do that, I do want to share this quote from Dr. David Jaffe, a sociology professor at UNF and director of the Jax Rental Housing Project. He calls it financialization of human shelter. That's what he refers to what these corporate firms are doing. Financialization of human shelter. As long as we have the financialization of human shelter, there is no hope to have affordable housing. That's according to Dr. Jaffe, a sociology professor at UNF. Here are the names of the corporations making it difficult to find affordable housing in Jacksonville. Now, here's what's interesting. I've had this article up. Those corporate names have disappeared. Jack, I've had this article up. The corporate names have disappeared. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. It just popped back up. I'm about to say, hold up. Conspiracy theory. I told y'all I run in these conspiracy theory streets. They're trying to shut me down. They're trying to silence me. All right. So here are the names of the corporate investment firms. Jarek Tadla. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is an individual investor. Jarek Tadla owns 16 properties. Starwood Capital, 14. Starwood Capital is an investment firm. Here's one I've heard about a whole lot through social media. Blackstone. Blackstone owns 13. Southport Financial Services, 10. Finn Capital Investments, 9. Mid-America Apartment Communities, 9. Vescor, Natalia Capital, they both own 9. Vescor and Natalia Capital, they both own 9 properties. Beachhold Residential, 8. Kabar, Fort Family Investments, Millennia, Blue Rock Premium, and Ability Housing all own 7. Navarino Capital Management, Bulls Dixon Equity Partners, and Bridge Investment Group each owns 6. These remaining investment firms own 5 apiece. Maryland Management Company, Harbor Group International, Infinity BH Real Estate Investments, JWB Real Estate, and American Landmark each owns 5. 72% of the properties, the rental properties in Jacksonville, are owned by these large capital investment firms. While global firms like Blackstone and Starwood Capital dominate the market, controlling 27 properties and over 82 units, individual investor Jarek Tadla, who I mentioned a moment ago, owns the most multifamily properties in Jacksonville. The 16 properties that Jarek Tadla owns, they have 856 units. Tadla also tops the list for eviction filings and code violations. So I asked the question again. The Florida legislature allocated millions of dollars towards affordable housing. Who did that money go to? If we see that affordable housing is unaffordable for the working class, who did those millions of dollars go to? Because if we assume that some of those dollars went towards programs such as HUD, right, Housing Authority, and things of that nature, then there should then be programs for the working class to access to help them ensure that the affordable housing becomes affordable. But that's not the case. So it could just be me. But when I look at those two similarities there, those two different stories that were published at different times, but the context is similar, things began making a little bit more sense to me. I like the way that Dr. What was the professor's name again? Dr. Jaffe. I like what Dr. Jaffe said. As long as we have the financialization of human shelter, there is no hope to have affordable housing. These are the types of things that I would like to see us invest our energy towards. Who do we need to call? What type of petitions do we need to sign? What steps do we need to take to limit or eliminate corporate investment firms from monopolizing housing in our communities? Because that's what's driving up the cost. That's what's making it unaffordable. Who do we speak to? Now, you may be in real estate. You may know far better than I do. So I'm asking this out of genuine concern and curiosity. Who do we contact? Please tell me. I'd be happy to bring them on the show and we have a conversation. What steps do we need to take to limit or eliminate corporate investment firms from monopolizing home ownership, rental properties in our community, making it nearly impossible for us to take care of our families? 833-758-1065. That's 833-758-1065. That's the number to call. It gives you a lot to think on. If this is the direction that our country is going to continue to spiral down, I think that it could potentially be a glimpse of what's to come. If there are not laws in place to prevent this, if there are no guardrails in place to protect us from this, it's a scary thought. This is Front Page Jacksonville. I'm Octavius Davis. We'll be back in a moment.
Now back to the show that informs you and discusses the issues. Front Page Jacksonville on Hot 106.5.
Do you have your tickets for One Joyous Night? You just heard the commercial air a moment ago. I plan to be there. And I hope you plan to be there as well. So if you do have your ticket, make sure that you bring some toys as well so that we can be a blessing to the kids who are serviced by the Center of Hope over in the Durkeeville area. That's in the 32209 area code. One Joyous Night. Looking forward to being there and hope to see you there as well. Pop quiz for you. What does Walmart, Ford, Boeing, John Deere, Harley Davidson, Black & Decker, Caterpillar, and Tractor Supply all have in common? I'll do the Jeopardy. Doom, 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 doom. What do they all have in common? Well, I'll end the suspense for you. Each of those companies have discontinued their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. They've cut those programs. Now, as we prepare to peel this onion, let's first get a healthy understanding on what diversity, equity, and inclusion is. Diversity is embracing the differences everyone brings to the table, whether it's someone's race, age, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, physical ability, or other aspects of social identity. Equity is treating everyone fairly and providing equal opportunities. Inclusion is respecting everyone's voice and creating a culture where people from all backgrounds feel encouraged to express their ideas and perspectives. Is it just me? But does that not sound like a recipe for a healthy, thriving work environment? Does that not sound like a sustainable culture that an organization would want to have to ensure their employees are feel heard and appreciated and know that there are opportunities for them to advance? Does that just not sound too much like right? Well, as I mentioned, Walmart, Ford, Boeing, John Deere, Harley Davidson, Black & Decker, Caterpillar, Tractor Supply, they're dropping those programs. They're dropping them. And here's why. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are under attack by conservative lawmakers and activists. From college campuses to corporate America, the fear of legal liability and political backlash is leading some to backtrack or rebrand their DEI initiatives. I saw in one article where they're talking about it's HR Drive, hrdrive.com. And a part of the rebranding that some companies are doing, Society for Human Resource Management is one of those organizations. They're actually eliminating equity from the acronym. So they're just focused on diversity and inclusion. They're removing equity from the equation. And according to them, equity is just too hard to define. It becomes too convoluted when you use a word like equity to try to ascertain what's fair and reasonable for all employees. No. We'll just focus on diversity and inclusion. And what we'll do is, rather than having equity in the acronym, we're going to actually put the equity underneath the inclusion pillar. So we'll still do equity. We'll still do equity, but it'll just be under inclusion. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm somewhat torn with my position with this. Because here's why. On one hand, I do believe that in the workforce, there should be a level playing field when it comes to diversity, when it comes to equity, when it comes to inclusion. I believe that. I believe that's, to me, that just kind of sounds like one of those golden rule kind of things. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It doesn't sound to me, it doesn't seem to me that we should have to have frameworks such as DEI in place for there to be fair and equitable treatment for everyone in the work environment. But such is life. Here we are, right? So I agree that we should have those parameters in place. Where I kind of get a little like, I can kind of see it from a different perspective is when we speak about corporations that have built their establishment from whatever. Let's use Walmart as an example. Most of us know the story of good old Sam Walton and how he started Walmart. I used to work at Walmart back in the day. And one of the things that I recall during my time at Walmart is all employees, they were given like shares of stock. We were given shares of stock when we became employees at Walmart. Now, I'm 18, 19 years old. I don't care about no stocks if I don't see it in my paycheck, if it's not cha-chinging in my bank account. I didn't care about it at 18 or 19 years old. Now that I'm a bit more mature and I look back on it, I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't a bad fringe benefit. But I thought that was nice, right? And I don't know the Sam Walton story inside and out, but I know that family has built Walmart up from, meager beginnings. And so a part of me wonders if, here's the question. Should we force corporations to institute these type of programs? Should we force them? I mean, it's their company. It's their business. Would you want someone telling you what you have to do? We're going to make it illegal to say who you can and can't hire. Would you want someone instituting those type of parameters around you? So on looking at it from that perspective, I'm like, okay, I could understand if people were pushing back on it from that standpoint. If their argument was, well, hey, look, I've built this business from the ground up, and I've had my team in place. My team has been with me, and we've been able to accomplish this, that, and the third, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to be told who I can and cannot put in place to help my business continue to grow and thrive. I get that. I fully get that. But here's what I don't get. In 2020, when many of these organizations and businesses put these diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in place, they did it on the heels of the civil unrest that was happening across this country because of the inhumane murder of George Floyd by police officers in the streets. And so protests ensued. And in that climate of racial tension and civil unrest, corporations, organizations began doing the PR spin cycle. I've shared with you before, I work in marketing and communications and PR. I understand the PR spin cycle. Well, what's the PR spin cycle? Well, in 2020, when all these things were happening, corporations were attempting to disassociate themselves from anything that could be construed as racial discrimination. And they attempted to position themselves as being a proponent of racial equality. There were press releases that were sent out. There were commercials that were made. There were social media posts that were put up to say, hey, look, we're diverse friendly. We're equity friendly. We are inclusion friendly. We shun racial injustice. We stand in solidarity with the people in our community. But here it is, 4 years later, now you backtracking. I have a problem with that because I read somewhere in a book that says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And in that, man isn't limited to mankind. It could be an organization. A double-minded organization is unstable in all of their ways. And so now, because of political pressure that these different organizations are experiencing, now you want to back off of your DEI programs. Well, hold on. Do you stand with us or do you not? Are you against racial injustice or are you not? Are you against racial inequality or are you not? Because this shell game of moving things of when it's convenient based on who's in office and where the dollars are flowing from, that's what it's really all about. Stop trying to play games. Stop playing in our face. Let it be what it is. And if that's what it is, cool. But don't try to position yourself as being some moral, as being morally clean, so to speak, when it comes to those uncomfortable conversations of racism, inequality in this country, that those of us who look like myself have to contend with on a daily basis. Don't try to position your college or your business as if you're inclusive, but behind closed doors having conversations on how can we do away with these programs, because that's what you're doing. Now, if once you do away with the programs, if you're still fair and above board, cool. If you're saying, hey, we don't need these programs in place for us to ensure that we're going to be equitable and be inclusive and have diversity, cool. We're going to continue to do that because that's what's morally right. I'm down with that. But unfortunately, I don't have that level of confidence in you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Front Page Jacksonville. Stay tuned because Health Beat with Wanda P is on the way. I'm Octavius Davis. I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Front Page Jacksonville, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. For show episodes, go to hot1065fm.com. We are Hot 1065.